Alrighty, hello everyone. My name is Julia. I'm a third year education student, and we will be doing my primary source today. So just have to share my screen here and then we will start. I'll just share the screen. Alrighty, folks. So I'll present it here for you. There we go. All right. So what can we learn from an automotive battery charger from 1925? And yeah, there's a little picture of it here for you. Alrighty. So why is an automotive battery charger important? So electric cars were made practical in 1870 and popular during the 1900s. Cars only had batteries since about 1918, and batteries needed to be charged. And obviously it was cheaper to get a battery charged than to go out and buy a whole new one. And obviously, yes, this was made during the roaring 20s, when the economy was good, but people still like to save a buck here and there. So you might as well charge your battery rather than buy a new one. And I'll just point out this car is not era specific, but it is one of the vintage cars that my brother owns. So yeah. Alrighty, so the particulars. So let's get into the particulars about this thing. So where it lives in my family's garage. So like just behind me, like probably like 20, 50 feet. I don't know, it's out there. So yeah, it lives in my family's garage, just on the bench. Has a manufacturing stamp from 1925, and it's about 17 inches by 8 by 8. So it's roughly like, I'll hold it up. So it'd be like this tall, and then about this wide or so. And so it has 12 holes and a brass stick to indicate how many batteries are being charged. It also has like an on and off switch as well. And there's another little brass stick for like low, medium, and high. So how fast you want it to charge the batteries. And a gauge, it says low, normal, and danger to indicate how many amps are in the battery. So obviously, if you're charging it and it gets up to danger, it could explode. The battery could explode. So a little spooky there, yeah. So where it came from an automotive shop in Lake Lenore, Saskatchewan. And I just have some more details on this here. So my grandfather bought that shop in 1964, and it was bought from a guy named Earl Taylor. And basically my father's family, they lived there for 12 years. And how it worked is, so upstairs, there was like living quarters, and then downstairs was the shop. So it was like very kind of like old traditional style shop. And eventually that shop was sold to a gravel truck driver in about 1975. And yeah, the shop address was box 36, Lake Lenore, Railway Ave. So yeah, still got the address, but that's pretty much all we know about where it came from. Let's see here. Yeah, so my family is very into mechanics, very, very into mechanics. So my grandfather obviously was a mechanic. He owned the shop. My dad, of course, got into mechanics through my grandfather because he lived at the shop. And then my brother does lots of mechanics. He took some college for it. And over quarantine, he did an engine swap in one of his vehicles. So yeah, and the company that made it is General Electric, and they're still up and running today. They're still alive. And basically why I chose this was because I just wanted something very old to base my project off of. And you know what? I knew we had it. So yeah, that's how I picked it. Alrighty, moving on here. And here are just some pictures of it. So from the side. So you can see the little plaque. So this just has like a bunch of information. There's a picture of it later on. The gauge, the thing to indicate how many batteries are being charged, the brass stick right there, and then the holes. And the stick's only about like this long, maybe a little shorter. Yeah, so brass stick there to indicate how many, and then this stick down here is for like low, medium, high, pretty much how fast you want to charge it, and the on and off switch. And then just another picture of it from the front. And then that's a like modern day like battery right beside it, so you can kind of see like from scale basically how big it is. All right, so a little closer up here. So yeah, this is it from the front. So number of batteries, anywhere from 1 to 12. And basically how you'd want to charge those 12 batteries is once you have one hooked up there, you'd want to run it in a series. And then yeah, low, medium, high, so how fast you want it to charge. And then the on and off switch, of course, the control switch. All right, and then picture the gauge up close, and you can see like it's kind of like, a little battered, but the glass isn't broken. There's a little glass bubble over it, all is well there. So yeah, low, normal, and danger. So like how fast it's charging, or how many amps, that's how many amps are in the battery. And then we move on, and yeah, here is the plaque on it. So yeah, General Electric, Tungar battery charger, and then this is just all to do with like the amps, the volts, things like that, the serial number, how many amps are in each cycle. And yeah, patented 1925 to 1926. Canadian General Electric Company Limited, and in Toronto, Canada. So we know that's where it kind of came from. But an interesting question would be how it got here, whether it traveled like in a vehicle, on a train, on a plane. Couldn't tell you. All right, and then more pictures. So this is just a picture of me holding the cord, and you can tell the cords are pretty ratty. Pretty ratty. It's old, man. It's old. And so this clamp here is the positive clamp. And I'll show you here. This is where the negative clamp would be, but we have no idea what happened to it or where it went. So yeah, but if we were to replace it, we'd make sure that it was like to match this one. Try to get like something from the same era, you know? And then in the back here, I mentioned something about this later. There's two little holes right here in the back. We'll talk about those later. All right, and then yeah, so just a closer up picture of the ratty cords and how the cords are kind of designed. And it's very interesting. It's not like the same, it's not like they're like plastic on the cords like we have our cords now. It's kind of like almost like a material of some sort. So yeah, inferences we can make. So obviously we can infer it has the ability to charge 12 batteries at one time. So from that, we can say that batteries probably needed to be charged pretty often. So it's probably a popular method of like, oh, you know, your battery is dead. Do we get a new one? Do we charge it? Probably charge it. All right, so two, it would be very expensive to buy because it was very new automotive tool. And especially with like batteries and stuff being new, it would probably wouldn't be cheap. Probably wouldn't be cheap to just come across something like that. And it hung on the wall, so it has two hooks in the back to hang it. So that's what I pointed out there, just the little nubs. And my dad said that when he first saw it, that's where it was, hanging on the wall. But now it's just sitting on a workbench. So we can also infer that batteries are made similar to the batteries they had back in the day. So it would still charge a modern day battery. And it has seen better days. It's very old and the cords are cracked and falling apart, as you guys saw. And yeah, my brother wants to fix it one day probably for its 100th birthday. And he's really good at dealing with little things like those. So I'm sure if we wanted to restore it, we could. And it would be error correct as well. We wouldn't be like messing with it or anything. Alrighty, so things we will never know. I have no idea what paint's on there, if it's lead paint or if it's a different kind of paint, if it's has a different base in it. I'll never know if it was used to charge 12 batteries at one time. So I'm not sure if, you know, the people that previously owned it were always like really chill with it and like, oh, we'll only charge like maybe 5 or 3 or whatever. Or, you know, if there was ever that high of a demand in Lake Lenore for batteries being charged, or if, you know, it just got the casual like one battery charge kind of deal every now and again. And yeah, I don't know how it got to the shop in Lake Lenore. So I'm not sure if Earl Taylor, the guy that previously owned the shop, if he bought it, if his grandfather bought it, if it was there when he bought it, you know, if somebody gave it to them, if it was donated. Yeah, I just never know. And then I don't know when the last time it was used. I have absolutely no idea because by the time my dad got to that shop, it was 1964. So that thing probably by then had definitely, you know, seen a couple years. It's been around for a bit. So I'm not sure if it was as battered as it is now, or if it was a little more, you know, sleek and trim and usable. I have no idea. And I'm unsure why my grandfather took it. They didn't move to another mechanic shop. They moved to a farm after. But I mean, honestly, good find. Good find. Might have just took it for the novelty. Maybe it was already beat up and he was like, well, no one's going to like this and whatever, you know. But interesting. So yeah, the conclusion, the 95-year-old battery charger shows the history of what my family did for work. It was very old and it was an uncommon thing to own. It would have been used many times during its era because it would have been cheaper to charge a battery than to buy a new one. And yeah, so that is my primary source on the battery charger. I've never seen in that thing. I've never seen in that thing. And if I could, I would have it here with me, like in the house while I'm doing this, except, you know, don't touch it is probably a good idea. It's probably a very good idea just because it's old, because it's very old, you know, and I don't want to mess it up. I don't want to try to open it and for it to like fall apart, especially with like not having anything to restore it or to fix it. If I did open it up and it did fall apart, I'd be kind of like, I'd kind of ruin the vibe, honestly. Let's be honest here. So yeah, that's what it looks like. I've never seen the inside of it. Maybe one day though. Maybe one day. But yeah, if you guys have any questions about this little battery charger or anything in my presentation, shoot me an email and I'll do some digging around and see if I can find you the answer. But yeah, that is all for today. So I hope you guys have a good day. And yeah, I guess I'll see you around. Bye.